Welcome to Scottish Rugby's Guinness Six Nations preview show as we head into round 4 of this year's campaign when Scotland host Wales here at Scottish Gas Murrayfield. I'm Caroline Blair. As always, I'm joined by Chris Patterson, overlooking this pitch now. Mossy.
We're in the stadium.
We're in the stadium. We're out in the cold. We're out in the wilderness. It's all eyes on the Doddle Weir Cup this weekend,
Yes.
and a huge opportunity for Scotland.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much motivation, there's so much meaning and tension and pressure around this fixture, as all fixtures in the Guinness Six Nations. Is sometimes more so now than ever, with a fallow week and then the ending of the last game we were involved in, the way that Wales played in the last game they were involved in, then you have a fallow week and then it builds up. But there's another added layer, and it is the Doddle Weir Cup. It's Gatty and the boys will be here tomorrow, obviously. We've won it the last 2 times, and it has a special effect on the players, especially you've seen Jamie Ritchie the last time we won it here with the trophy lift. It was a real special moment. So it's another thing added into the mix. But we are in the stadium, and you've just commented on how big the pitch is. It's when there's nobody here you realise the size of the thing.
It's incredible. Scottish Gas Murrayfield, when you see this stadium empty. And there aren't, the 67,400 odd fans here. It is a very different experience. Looking to this game then, let's unpack this. Wales, 15 games now without a win. It's been an interesting time for them, an encouraging performance against Ireland round 3, 2 weeks ago. I think it is also worth flagging as well, though, that both sides are going into this game on the back of a defeat, and it's a must-win.
It is. It's there's so much riding on it, but I suppose people outside the camp will say, there's not really that much riding. It's round 4. Scotland's lost the last 2. Wales, obviously in terms of the 3 defeats, no one can realistically challenge for the title without other teams helping them along the way. But put that to one side, there's so much riding in this. Scotland need to get back to winning ways. I thought a lot of the game against England was excellent. I thought a lot of the attacking structures, the tries, obviously the missed kicks were important and were crucial, but there was other missed opportunities as well. And I almost need to underline that, yes, it was a defeat. It was a bitter defeat. It was a last-second defeat. But don't look too much at one result. Look at the context of the last 18 months or however Scotland have been progressing. Align that to the improved performance of Wales against Ireland. But it was at home, there was raw emotion, there was a complete change. There was a change in personnel, obviously, but there was a change in how they played. Ireland still came out in top 1 that game, and they had to dig it out, and it could have been different if Ellis Mee's potential try had been given with 12 minutes to go or 8 minutes to go, whatever it was. But that just underlines how close these games are. You've got a team that hadn't won in 14, 15 now, pushing arguably the world's number 2 side in the world, almost number 1 side in the world, that's looking like it could go on to win 3 championships in a row. You're down to fractions of centimetres in the final quarter of the game. That's international rugby, and the same might happen tomorrow, here at Dublin, wherever. So there's a lot riding on it, but Scotland, I think it's important to get back to winning ways, but also realise that there's a lot that they've done well in the last couple of games, but fell on the wrong side of the result.
You mentioned the change in setup there for Wales, Matt Sherritt coming in. With a change in an interim capacity or otherwise in the middle of a campaign, that doesn't just have an impact on the playing squad there. It has a bit of an impact on the opposition, because all of a sudden...
What do you analyse?
What do you analyse?
Yeah, I think the kind of obvious thing is don't look at anything before the Irish game. But it's the same players on the whole, and I would still kind of have half an eye on the structures and the plays that Warren Gatland was employing. It is quite different, or vastly different mindset and approach under Matt Sherritt, but there'll be, under pressure, there'll be instincts you go back to, or behaviours you go back to that are more ingrained. And I think it's harder to change an approach away from home as well. I think you get a home bounce, a home experience and motivation for especially Wales and Cardiff. So the pressure on them tomorrow will be, can they find that new flow on the road away from home when it's all a bit different? There is less familiarity. I think they can. I think they're a good attacking side. I think they're quite inexperienced outside 9 and 10, but quality players playing in the right position that are playing well. But I think with Scotland's wide attack and the edge attack that we've had success on, I think that's where Scotland would primarily look to attack. Ellis Mee's 1 cap, I think Maxwell in 13 challenge maybe 6 caps, Blair Murray 4 caps at fullback, Tom Rogers 6 caps. So Scotland can put difficult decisions for the players defending it there if they get their attack right. They need to win the physical battle. I think one of the main strengths of Wales is their back row, but then he counteract that with our back row. It's going to be a brilliant battle. The three starting and both on the bench, Aaron Wainwright and Matt Fagerson are both over 50 cappers. So that back row battle will be a full 80 minutes. So I think you'll analyse, I think it'd be foolish not to look at games prior to Wales playing Ireland, but the focus will be on what Matt Sherritt did in that game and how his Cardiff team have played against most of these players a couple of times already this season.
You've tapped into it already there, but if you take the experienced half-back pairings out of both sides, Scotland, and if you take them out of Wales as well, so that's Russell, White, and then Williams and Anscombe, if you take those four out and you look at the backs and the cap differential, you've mentioned it there, but it's 311 for Scotland to 31.
And that should carry some weight in terms of belief, understanding, cohesion. It doesn't win you a game. It doesn't mean you're going to get everything right.
That's
it doesn't.
The point.
And that's what I'm saying, out of the fine margins and narrow nature of moments in rugby. I mean, you could create a 3-on-1 on the edge and the one defender could pick a right moment, fly in and intercept and go 80 metres and there's a massive swing the other way, or you could be clinical and finish off. Fractions of seconds and fine moments. But with the cohesion and the more experience, you would hope that you would get more of them right and be more comfortable in that position than perhaps the kind of less experience. The start becomes probably quite important as well around that, and your first involvements.
In terms of what way?
Well, if you know you've done it time and time again before, there's less doubt. If you've never played away from home, if you've never dealt with the pressure, and you get the first thing wrong, think, oh, this is a bit different.
And it's not an easy place to come.
No international stadium is. Do you know, like it's, and of course there'll be a pressure on Scotland on the home side, but there'll be a pressure on Wales as well. So, listen, as we said before, England, we talk through all these scenarios, all the different things that can happen, but it's how you deal with the moment ahead of you that determines where the game will go. And I think it's important for Scotland, as I said before, to look at the last 10, 12 months and the cohesion have there versus Wales' last 15 games. It doesn't win you anything, but it should set up a bit of belief for a big game. And
you've mentioned it there, that if attack gets space, gets ball in time, then, I mean, defenders beaten wise, I think we're sitting top of the tree at this point. We've got 90 defenders beaten across the whole campaign.
And that strikes to the way we try and play. Although I think Wales broke the record for defenders beaten for themselves against Ireland. 33 defenders beaten against Ireland in one game, the meanest defence. So there's an attacking nous and an understanding, but there's an execution there as well that you have to be really careful of. I think that was more defenders beaten than they had cumulatively in their first two games. It points to an open game. It points to a team that wants to play. Both teams that want to play. Both teams have gone for a 5-3 split in the bench, so that kind of points to that open, fluent game again. Probably means there's a few errors out there as well, which will keep us at the edge of our seat. But yeah, look forward to it. And again, we're surmising, but the stats do point to teams that like to attack, that want to go wide, but also have been relatively poor at breaking the gain line. So does that point to
we need to see
lesser
that this
physicality?
Weekend,
and I think we do, yeah. And it's at the right times. You manipulate defence. To get over the gain line, you don't have to just run really hard at it. You have to manipulate it and then run really hard at the space, and that's going to get you over the gain line. There'll be times where it just becomes a one-on-one physical battle, but I'm a big believer in manipulating defence to try and get more gain line. So, and I think that's the way Scotland play. That's the way that Wales certainly played against Ireland. So we should see a bit of attack in rugby tomorrow afternoon.
And Ben White, 3 tries, 3 tests, one in each round of the tournament so far. He's managed the hat-trick. He'll be looking for the haul, I'm sure, by going for number 4 this weekend.
I didn't know. It's funny because I think with 2 fallow weeks in between, you could lose a little bit of momentum. You forget. And somebody asked me in the office, who's scored every week? I don't know. I mean, Ben White, that's right enough. He's been brilliant. And some of his relieving kicks have been excellent. Like he's just in a real comfortable space. He's got a long boot on him as well, especially down in Twickenham. His contestable kicks and his long kicks are setting the platform, but he's got that try-scoring ability as well. He'll be looking for a big game. Thomas Williams is a lot of people who are saying that he will be one of the Welsh guys that right in the fight for Lions nines. I think Ben, he's a competitive soul, and he'll roll his sleeves up and go after it tomorrow again.
He'll enjoy that as well, I'm pretty sure. Darcy's back as well, and great to see him back in the fold because he's been training. It's not like he hasn't been around.
Yeah, and it's a month since the game, isn't it? Again, the 2 fallow weeks, and you know, had passed his tests for the week prior to the first fallow week. Was it the second? Who did we play?
Working the order.
England game.
England, after the Calcutta.
He'd been available almost to play in terms of procedure, but they thought it was right to keep him off contact a little bit longer. So he has been involved and incorporated in the squad for a long time. Kyle Rowe played really well.
He has played well, isn't he? And that's rugby, isn't it? He can play really well, but ultimately.
But that gives you so much. Look, we spoke, I think, in the first one of these previews 5 or 6 weeks ago about the depth that Scotland now have, and there's another example of it. Kyle Rowe coming and performing so well, and he's still in the 23 and he'll have a big impact as well. But yeah, Darcy's he's a player we want to watch. I was reading the stat with him. He'd scored I think 3 games against Wales, 3 tries against Wales in 3 consecutive games, and the losing side. And the one game he didn't score, he played against Wales, he won. So I'm not sure if I'm wanting to run in tries left, right, and centre. But
don't tell him that.
He brings something special, and with the knowledge of the Welsh fans and the appreciation of the history of rugby in Wales, I think there'll be a few Welsh fans quite happy to see. They won't want him doing too much damage, but a rugby fan, you want to see Darcy again on the field, and we'll see it again tomorrow. What
an entertaining fixture this promises to be. Under-20s, of course, are in action as well tonight at Hive Stadium. How are things looking in camp there?
Difficult in terms of the results. They've had good periods in the games they've played, certainly against Ireland at home and against England at home, and reasonably heavy defeats. They've had good periods, so they need to prolong that and to sustain it. Back at Hive Stadium tonight, they played Wales in 2 warm-up games in December prior to the Six Nations kicking off, so they know each other really quite well. Wales have won the last 2 games. They're on form. They're in the title hunt under 20s. Quite a lot of players exposed to Premiership Rugby Cup games and senior exposure that'll help Wales. But piecing together the best bits of the performances and as 60-minute, 80-minute performances, it's what's needed to get on the right side of the scoreline.
Well, here's hoping that converts for both Scotland under-20s and the Scotland national team here at Scottish Gas Murrayfield tomorrow. Until then, as always, you can catch up with the latest news and content via Scottish Rugby's social media channel or via scottishrugby.org.